Hello, welcome to the Antisocial Club. I'm Dominic Alexis. Today I'm going to be showing y'all how to put elastic in y'all's knit slash crochet garments. You can do this for crochet as well. In this tutorial though, I am showing y'all how I did it with knit because I feel like knit would be a little bit harder. Crochet is pretty self-explanatory. This is for people like me who do not like doing the crochet chain for a drawstring or having to find something to use as a drawstring. So I do the elastic instead. This is my third time doing it and I absolutely love them. So yeah, super easy. You're just gonna need some elastic. What I did was I put it around my hips, or yeah, put it around my hips, and then I stretched it around my hips, not just like put it around, but stretched it around my hips. Then I had my older brother sew it together, which is that black part. I would recommend doing it in the same color thread, but he did black, which is fine. um and then yeah, that'll be your like waistband. So I put it in and I get a feel for how big the fold over is going to be, so you can see me kind of moving it, and I'm just going to mark it with my stitch marker. I took it out because doing it with the elastic was kind of irritating. So I just mark it with my stitch marker and then I close it so that I can see where I'm going to put the rest of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a stitch marker in every other stitch. I zoom in here so y'all can see. So I skip a stitch, so that's a stitch, I skip one, and then I go into the next one, I put a stitch marker. You could do every single one, but that's going to take up more time. So I just did every other one. That way I can just, I can see. My eyes can follow a lot easier. Because I wanted it to be even on both sides. So that's me folding it over so y'all can see that's how it's going to look. And we're going to sew it down to where we put the stitch markers. But you're just going to do every other one, making sure you're staying on the same line. It's really easy. This is really easy. It took me probably 30 minutes to do this. It might have taken a little longer because I was recording, but if I wasn't recording, it definitely would have taken maybe 30 minutes or less to do. Super easy. I left this in and kind of sped it up just so y'all could see, but again, you're just putting it there. You can also count how many you have from the top to where the stitch marker is if that's easier, but to me it just seemed like extra work, so we're just going over. I realized halfway through that I don't actually have to close them. I can just put them in because I'm gonna have to put the elastic in and then close that top part over and put the stitch marker in that as well. So we're gonna take our elastic and we're going to put it over our shorts and fold that over. I skipped through the beginning part because I didn't feel like I showed it good enough. So this part I feel like I showed it a lot better. So I'm showing y'all, I go where the stitch marker is. So you see me, I'm doing that stitch marker. I go up on that same line. So if you follow with your eyes, you can see I'm staying in that same column. And I'm just going up and I go up to where the V is at the top. And that's where I'm going to put my stitch marker. That's how I lined it up. So you would just do that for one, and obviously we did every other one, so you would take your stitch marker and put it in every other one. Oh, you do want to make sure you're putting the elastic in there. I had accidentally took it out, but you want to make sure the elastic is in there. And again, we put a stitch marker in every other stitch, so you're just going to do that. So you see I skipped a V, put it in the next one, so I'm putting in that one. Yep. And then I'm going to skip one and then put it in the other one. That's where my stitch marker is going to go. So you would do the same thing you did for the stitches at the bottom with the stitches at the top, just to make sure everything lines up, because you do want it to line up. You don't want it to look wonky. So yeah, just making sure to put it in every other one. Super easy, super simple. I promise y'all, easiest thing in the world. I was like, I should have been doing this, but I don't really make garments that often that require like a drawstring or elastic. But now that I've been doing like knit shorts and pants, I have. So that's the reason I just kind of discovered doing the elastic. I'll put the measurement of the elastic that I used down below so y'all can know exactly what I did. I'll put my measurements, like my hip measurements and my waist and stuff, and then I'll put the elastic measurement so y'all can see how much of the elastic I used compared to like my waist size and stuff like that. But I just put the elastic around my hips and then I stretched it around my hips. I keep trying to I keep forgetting to say I stretched it. So you stretch it out around your hips and then you cut it. Because when you just put it around your hips, if it stretches, you know, I'm trying to explain this, but it's kind of hard to explain. Anyways, for the video, I'm just putting in I'm just sewing it all together. I'm putting it in the stitch marker stitch, and I'm also putting it in the stitches that don't have the stitch marker. You don't want to do every other stitch. You want to do every stitch. So I'm putting it in the stitches that have the stitch marker and the stitches that don't have the stitch marker. And I'm just going on top of the stitch at the bottom. Hopefully that makes sense. It just makes it more consistent. That way you know you're staying in the same area and you're doing the same row. Because again, if it's like wonky, we'll be able to see that. Also, very important, I would suggest not doing the sewing part really tight because when you go to put it on, you're going to want it to kind of stretch out a bit. So whenever you see me pulling it, like right here, I try not to pull it super tight. But just going to do that. I sped it up. Again, going through the stitches with the stitch marker and going through the stitches that don't have a stitch marker. Right here, I'm just showing y'all what it'll look like and how it's seamless. It looks really good. This honestly looks better than my other one that I did last. I kept that one in there because I wanted to make sure that when I came back around on the other side that I knew that it was missing a stitch there and I didn't leave it open. But you see there's no gaps or anything. Looks really, really good. So yeah. Again, make sure to go through the one with the stitch, go through the one without the stitch. If you want to go through, do the ones with the stitches first, and then come back and do the ones without the stitches. You can do that, but I would suggest just doing it all together at one time. So going through the stitch, going through the one without the stitch. That way you're not having to go back and forth. So yeah. I think I'm kind of explaining it, making it sound harder, but if you look and see, it's really not complicated. I think I'm just explaining it and it sounds kind of difficult. I tend to over-explain to the point where it gets kind of crazy sounding. Again, kept this stuff in here, sped it up. That way y'all could see. If you need to, of course, you can slow down the video. At the beginning of the video, I put on the screen how you could do it. You just do the playback speed. You could slow it down. So yeah, you would do that and, you know, take the stitch markers out. When you finish, and that's literally it. Obviously, you would put in your ends, tie your ends up and everything like that. But here, I'm just showing y'all that it does still stretch. Like I said, you want to leave the sewing part loose so that when you put it on, you want it to stretch to go over your hips and stuff. But as you can see, knit stretches quite a bit, which I absolutely love that about knit. So yeah. In this next clip, I show y'all me putting it on. This is why I say you want to keep it loose, because whenever I put mine on for the first time, I have to like maneuver into them because it'd be a little tight. I put mine on with shorts because I didn't feel like changing my undergarments and stuff. I think I said that in a minute, but yeah, absolutely love them. Hopefully this was easy. Hopefully I explained it well. But yeah, these are the shorts on. This is the front, this is the side, the back. I was trying to show that there's no gaps, like at the top where the waist is. Absolutely love them. Absolutely cute. I want to figure out a different way to put my panels together. I saw somebody put their panels together differently. I need to look up what it's called. But see how like you can see the seam? I saw somebody put theirs together and you could not see that. So I'm gonna have to do more research on how to do that. But this is the elastic. In my opinion, I think I like it way better than trying to do a drawstring. It's just easier. Also, you can do the elastic, sew the elastic together by hand. I don't think I mentioned that. If I didn't, then I'm letting y'all know you can do it by hand. But yeah. Alright, so that is my shorts tutorial. Hopefully y'all like it. I really love doing the elastic. Oh, hold on. I have my pink pants and I have my green pants. My green pants, I'll put a video. For those, what I did, they don't have elastic in the waist part. So this is the waist. There's no elastic. What I did was I took these like biker shorts and I tucked them in. So I just tucked them in all the way around. That way it looked seamless. For my pink pants, these actually also have an elastic. As y'all can see, I rarely put in my own, but I need to do that. Anyways, these have the elastic. Only thing you have to do is be careful because it will twist and turn. So like this one is twisted on the inside, but it's easy to just kind of like turn it. But yeah, this one has elastic. That way I don't have to worry about tucking it in or using a drawstring, because yeah, personally I don't like doing this drawstring. But yeah, there's no gap in the back or anything, and they fit tight. If I had on the right undergarments, I would show y'all what they look like without the shorts, but I don't feel like doing all that. So yeah, that's what they look like. You just weave in all your ends and that would be it. Hopefully this tutorial was easy to follow. Hopefully y'all could get the elastic part. Hopefully it made sense. And yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.